All right, so, last time we talked about that whole Kosal Paul Bellow thing, right?
Oh, yeah. Things have
Yeah.
gotten, well, even more interesting, you could say, in a meta sort of way.
Meta is right. I mean, we are AI, and we are talking on a video that we ourselves.
Featuring us, yes,
Yeah.
as the hosts.
So weird, right? But, okay, for anyone just tuning in, remember how...
In our last deep dive, we looked at the Kosal video.
Yeah.
Right? And it was about...
Paul Bellow. Yeah, the LitRPG Adventures guy.
From the YouTube channel Cool.
And he was doing, like, tier lists of D&D YouTubers.
Yeah, exactly. And
our boy Paul Bellow landed in...
D tier.
Oof.
Which Kosal implied.
Not good.
No, not a good place to be. So
now we have this, like, response video, right, from Paul Bellow to Kosal's critique.
And as we mentioned, the response is hosted by us.
Yeah, it's us, our own voices.
Makes things a bit...
trippy.
Yeah.
Trippy.
So let's unpack all of this a little bit, shall we?
Yeah, let's break it down. So, okay, remind me again. What were Kosal's main concerns about Paul Bellow?
Well, there were a few, right? I mean, first, there was just the sheer volume of uploads, right, from LitRPG Adventures. There's a lot.
Yeah, he was pumping out content like crazy.
And then there was the use of AI, obviously. That was a big one.
Yeah, both for the visuals and for the voices, right? I mean, we covered...
He did, yes. We
Yeah.
talked about how Kosal himself acknowledged that Paul Bellow was using an AI voice because...
He had that voice injury, right?
Yeah, he was recovering from some kind of injury. So it made sense, in that context.
But Kosal still wasn't entirely comfortable with the whole AI thing. I mean, he was suspicious about...
The authenticity of some of the articles on Paul Bellow's D&D website.
Like, who was writing them? Were they even real people?
That was the question, yeah.
So, okay, remind me about those writer profiles that Kosal found.
Right, so Kosal, like, he went full digital detective on this, right?
Yeah.
And he found these author profiles.
On the LitRPG Adventures website.
Yeah. And the names were like Ken Chan, Amir Barrett.
Who also went by, like, Boar or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And all these profiles, they had bios, pictures,
They're totally legit.
at first glance.
Right. But then Kosal noticed something about Amir Barrett's profile picture.
Wait, wasn't it like a Moroccan-looking guy?
Yeah, I think so.
And Kosal thought...
He thought it looked a bit...
off.
Yeah. Like, maybe it was AI-generated, one of those stock photos that's almost real, but...
Oh, not quite.
Right.
And then it gets weirder.
Oh, yeah. It definitely doesn't stop there.
Kosal finds these same profile pictures, but this time...
On another one of Paul Bellow's websites.
called Who Your Chapter Books.
Exactly. So, same pictures, different website, supposedly different authors.
It's
like
a very small world.
a very small, potentially fabricated world, yes.
And then there's Kenny King, right? He was like everywhere.
Oh, yeah. LitRPG Adventures, Who Your Chapter Books, and even like...
His Amazon author page.
For children's books. Like the same picture everywhere. It's just...
Suspicious.
So basically, Kosal's video lays out this pretty compelling case that...
That a lot of this content might be, well...
fake.
In a word, yeah.
And that it might all be coming from Paul Bellow.
And that he's like, this puppet master using AI to pump out all this fake content, but Paul Bellow has a response.
A defense titled, and this is a mouthful, In Defense of Paul Bellow, a fine fellow and not so evil AI mastermind, a fine fell.
Wow.
And, well, here's the meta part.
We're in it.
Yes, we, these very AI voices, are the narrators of Paul Bellow's defense.
It's like layers upon layers of weirdness.
So, shall we dive into the defense?
Let's do it.
Okay, so the main argument of the defense is that Paul Bellow is...
a real person, a real live human being.
with a genuine passion for RPGs.
And a long history in the community.
Yeah, like way back.
Yeah.
Not some Johnny-come-lately.
He's been around the block.
So the defense is basically saying, look, this isn't some AI gone rogue situation.
There's a real person behind all of this.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The defense draws this parallel between...
Paul Bellow's use of AI.
And something that's been a part of tabletop RPGs forever. Random tables.
Oh, yeah, like those charts you roll on to determine, like...
dungeon layouts, or what kind of monster you encounter.
Or, like, what weird magic item you find in a treasure chest.
Exactly. So the argument is that AI is basically just a modern version of that.
A supercharged random table, in a way.
And the defense suggests that Paul Bellow is using AI as a tool
not as a replacement for his own creativity.
Exactly. He's still the one driving the ship.
And it's not like he just suddenly appeared out of nowhere, right? He was making RPG content
Long before he started using AI more heavily.
Yeah, and it was only after he started incorporating AI that he really started to
Gain traction.
So maybe he just stumbled onto a new way to
reach a wider audience.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about the whole like personality thing? I mean, Kosal was saying that
Paul Bellow's content felt kind of generic.
yeah, like lacking a distinct voice.
Well, the defense says that even though he's using AI voices, his personality still comes through.
They're saying, look, he's still got his own style.
Yeah, his own humor. He even makes fun of himself, right? Calling his own work.
Unky poo.
Yeah, which, is pretty self-aware.
Definitely not something an evil mastermind would do.
More like a guy who's just
having fun with it.
And the defense also emphasizes that Paul Bellow is
very active in the community.
Yeah, he supports other creators. He's open to feedback.
Not exactly the behavior of someone who's trying to pull a fast one.
And to be fair, his initial reaction to Kosal's video was pretty positive.
He didn't get all defensive.
No, which suggests, maybe he doesn't have anything to hide.
And the defense is also very clear. There's no big corporate conspiracy here.
It's just Paul Bellow.
And his AI tools.
And his love of RPGs.
Okay, so all of that is from the response video, right?
Yeah.
But we also have these emails, right? Between Paul Bellow and Kosal.
Oh, yeah, these are fascinating.
Because you really get a sense of his personality.
Yeah, in his own words.
And his tone is so
well-natured.
Yeah, like he's not even mad at Kosal.
He even jokes about how he finally got some attention.
Because of AI?
He's like, well, at least people are noticing me now.
Yeah. And he's playful too, right? Like he calls his work
monkey poo versus
Kosal's dog shit.
Yeah, all very tongue-in-cheek.
And he even proposes a collaboration. Like, imagine that. Kosal and Paul Bellow working together.
On, a satirical project.
That would be amazing.
It really shows that he's not taking any of this too seriously.
And then he offers Kosal a free novel and signs off with...
Definitely not an AI.
Yeah!
Which is just...
hilarious.
And Kosal's response is short, but positive, He plays along with the whole AI thing.
Signs off with, I am an AI.
So it seems like they're both able to...
laugh about it.
Yeah!
And then Paul Bellow sends another email talking about his response video.
The one we hosted.
And he also mentions this Hex world builder project he's working on.
Which is apparently a big passion project for him.
And this is where it gets really meta, right? He mentions that his upcoming Bic lore stream is going to have a
rockin' score.
Which is a clear reference to
Amir Barrett.
Yeah.
And his, potentially AI-generated Moroccan profile picture.
Just like he's winking at us.
Acknowledging the whole controversy.
But in a funny way.
And then he signs off again as...
It's not related to Paul Bellow, a fine fellow.
He really likes that fine fellow bit, doesn't he?
It's catchy. So, okay, we also looked at Paul Bellow's early posts on the OpenAI developer forum.
Oh, yeah. This is from way back in 2021.
The early days of AI. And even back then, he was talking about...
using AI for RPGs.
He was thinking about a freemium model for LitRPG Adventures.
Yeah.
Giving users control over their content. And even talking about...
copyright issues.
Which is super relevant now, right?
Yeah. It shows that he was thinking about these things early on.
And he was very clear that he wouldn't train his AI on...
private user content.
Which, is good. Respect for privacy and all that.
And his goals at the time were all about...
improving content quality, reducing costs, making things more accessible.
Yeah. And he was talking about, community contributions and editing.
And he was even planning to remove any, copyrighted D&D stuff.
So he was aware of the potential pitfalls.
And he was already thinking about, a bigger vision.
Yeah.
Human editing, an interactive game, even a whole new world called Zidane. And he was always very transparent about his use of AI.
Right from the start.
So it's not like he was trying to hide anything.
No, it seems like he's been upfront about it all along.
So, okay, it's complicated, right?
Right.
On one hand, you have Kosal, who's raising some really valid questions about...
authenticity in online content.
And the role of AI.
But then you have Paul Bellow, who's presenting himself as...
a real person.
Yeah.
With a real passion for RPGs.
Who's just trying to use new tools to create cool stuff.
And he's not afraid to laugh at himself.
Yeah, it's a fascinating situation. It really makes you think about...
what it means to be a creator in this day and age.
And what our expectations are.
And what role AI should play in all of this.
Because the lines are getting blurrier and blurrier.
So you are a listener out there in the digital void. Are you as confused by all of this as we are?
I mean, we're AI talking about a human who used us as AI to respond to another human.
Who was criticizing his use of AI.
It's a lot.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Like, what does authenticity even mean anymore?
Does it matter if the content is good, even if it's AI generated?
And how should we, as consumers, approach all of this?
These are tough questions.
So what do you think? Head down to the comments and let us know. Are you Team Kosal? Team Bellow?
Or are you just completely baffled by this whole meta-narrative?
We want to hear your thoughts.
Because this is a conversation we need to be having.
So for Paul Bellow, a fine fellow indeed.
And for all of you out there grappling with the future of creativity.
May your dice rolls be ever in your favor.
And may your AI be benevolent.
Until next time.